Greetings, peace be with you. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 3 reasons why I stopped smoking weed. So I made a bunch of videos on this channel about the vibration of weed, how this plant, cannabis, has been an aspect of the generation and evolution of human society and civilization as a whole. How there are some researchers that say that the agricultural revolution actually started with cannabis as well. But understand that the cannabis we have on the market today, as it is getting legalized around the world, as it is becoming industrialized, is very different than the cannabis that is grown outdoors in the sun. This is a plant that creates energy through photosynthesis, and part of photosynthesis is taking energy from the sun, which of course is very, very different from energy taken in from ultraviolet artificial light. So that's the first thing to understand. And the second thing is also that there is a lot of genetic modification going on. There is a lot of pesticides, herbicides going on. So even though you might use the plant, the herb, in the moment, you feel elevated, you feel like your awareness is expanding, you feel that mental clarity, in the long term, it can actually do more damage than good. Now, this is not a video telling you what's right, what's wrong, what's good, what's bad. You know in your own heart what is true for you. In this video, I'm just sharing with you my experience and what I believe to be true at this point in my journey. Now, the first reason that I stopped smoking weed, it's actually been 2 days at this point. Last time I blazed was 2 days ago. But the first reason is to prepare for the Monk Mode Challenge. If you haven't heard about this is going to be a 30 days of discipline challenge where I'm going to be giving you daily missions every single day for 30 days on how to elevate your mindset so that you can master your habits. Now, for those of you guys that actually took 30 seconds to answer the 2 questions which I laid out for you in the Google form, I sincerely appreciate each and every single one of you, because it's provided me with clarity in terms of what you need most. Now, I also know that there are a bunch of new subscribers coming on right now. So if you haven't already answered these 2 questions, take 30 seconds, click the link below, go to the Google form and answer these 2 questions so that I have clarity in terms of not missing out on anything that you need help with in order to truly begin transforming your life during this 30-day challenge. Now, I'm preparing for this challenge myself. I'm very excited for it. And part of the challenge is to refrain from the use of mind-altering substances. So weed, like I've shared on this channel before, has provided me with a lot of benefits. It's definitely elevated my vibration to a certain extent. But like I said, the weed that we have today is very different from the weed that we had 100 years ago or even like before this whole industrialization is going on. Because of these genetic modifications taking place, when you use this herb, it ends up affecting your body in a very negative way. Right now, the second reason, which leads on to this negative way, is that of the use of cannabis lowering your sperm count. Now, this is not theory. This has been scientifically established. I can leave out a link to a study below, but it was published in Denmark, where they were testing more than 1,000 different subjects who were training for the military. And they tested a bunch of different biometric factors for these dudes who were training for the military to see if they would actually be fit enough. And they found a direct correlation between cannabis usage and sperm count. So you already know that sperm is the source of your creative energy, of your life force energy, and really the source that allows you to expand your creativity and allows you to enter your personal power as a man. And lower sperm count is definitely something that we want to avoid. Now, there's a caveat over here, because I shared on this channel before that sometimes when I got caught up in the hustle and the bustle and the grind and, just pushing full force forward with my goals, with my dreams, with my hopes, with my ambitions, just going full force, then sometimes using the herb was actually giving me the space to get awareness and perspective on whether I was moving in that right direction or not. So it definitely provided benefits, but the herb is not necessary. You can get those same perspective shifts and awareness from meditation, from journaling. And anytime that I notice myself getting dependent on something, getting dependent on the herb to facilitate conversations, getting dependent on the herb to facilitate my creativity, that's when I know that I'm slipping into past the boundary of it actually serving me and I'm serving it, right? Because it is a sacred plant, like I've shared on this channel before. But when we get used by it is when we are serving an ulterior agenda. And part of that is to do with its legalization. Part of that is to do with our own tendencies to avoid what needs to be done. Part of it is to do with an excuse to procrastinate. So in your heart of hearts, you already know whether this is serving you or not. And in the moment it serves you, but also know that cause and effect are distance over time. So even though you use the herb right now, you feel good right now, you can assess how you feel 1 day, 2 days, 3 days from now, right? And that brings me to the third reason on why I stopped smoking weed. And that is something that I've been tracking my biometric data with this ring over here, right? It's called the Aura ring. And based on, I mean, it's not 100% accurate, right? It's not good to get attached to these numbers and think that, okay, if this number is on point, then I'm gonna be fine. If it's not, then I won't be fine, right? But at least it is consistently inconsistent. And what I've noticed from the biometric data that I've collected and seen this objectively is that my REM sleep is definitely lower on the nights that I blazed. What does this mean? So understand that REM sleep is when you are experiencing dreams, and dreams are being experienced when your pineal gland is releasing DMT, dimethyltryptamine. How to open your third eye, it comes down to increasing the energy flow over here. And the fact that when I use the cannabis, my REM sleep is going down consistently, I've seen that, means that my pineal gland is being closed, right? And if you use the herb, maybe you can notice that your dreams are not as vivid. And when you stop, you notice that your dreams are as vivid. And dreams are definitely a very powerful avenue for us to reach even deeper levels of awareness and consciousness. Now, there are a lot of theories about how dreaming is our soul's way of experiencing different dimensions, and we can receive answers and insight that we cannot in this dimension. And there are so many people that have made critical breakthroughs through their dreams. I think the guy who discovered the periodic table, I don't know his name, he came up with it in his dream. There was a Nobel Prize winner in science. I don't know exactly what the experiment was. I can link out to it below, but he came up with the experimental design in a dream. John Lennon came up with a song Yesterday in a dream. So dreams are powerful, and the fact that using the cannabis lowers my ability to have them. This is some anecdotal evidence that I've read a lot of people talking about how using the cannabis lowers their ability to dream. Maybe you can relate to that. Let me know in the comments below. But those are the three primary reasons, right? First one, I'm practicing my discipline. I don't want to be dependent on something. I don't want to be attached to something. And we're setting the foundations for the Monk Mode Challenge, which has a part of the challenge to refrain from the use of mind-altering substances. Second reason is because of the lowering sperm count. Now, this is something I was aware of for a long time, but I was like, oh, it's okay. Like I'm already very masculine. I need to be on my path on purpose, and it doesn't matter if I experience a little bit of femininity over here. Yes, it has feminizing effects. And no, I'm not saying that it's not good to be feminine. Like, in order to be a truly whole and integrated being, you have to have a balance of your polarities of masculine and feminine, of receiving and giving. But when we are using the herb too much, it can actually tip the scales in the favor of femininity, of receiving too much, of being passive rather than active towards our goals. And this is something that I've noticed a lot when I was using the herb, getting a lot of ideas, getting a lot of creativity, getting a lot of flow, but never actually following through on it to the extent that I could without it. So very important to understand that as well. And then finally, it does close the energy flow into your pineal gland, into your third eye, and it reduces your ability to enter ulterior states of consciousness through dreaming and through other means as well. Okay, so that's just my quick take on why I stopped smoking weed, and this is going to be for the duration of at least a month, and then get some perspective over there. But it's very important to have an awareness on what's really going on behind the scenes, because it is getting legal right now, and there was a reason that it was illegal in the first place. I made another video on that, on how there was propaganda, reefer madness. They wanted to shut it down because it was threatening a lot of corporate interests. But at this point, as it's getting legalized, there are a lot of modifications taking place on this herb that can actually do more damage than good, right? So if you haven't already, take 30 seconds to answer those 2 questions below this video. It's going to provide me with some clarity so that I don't miss out on anything during the Monk Mode Challenge, which is going to be 30 days of total transformation on mind, body, and spirit. So I'm very excited for that. Okay, I'm really preparing for that and really putting my heart and soul into this, and very excited to get it out to you guys. So take 30 seconds to answer those 2 questions right now. But with that being said, just want to share my views and my situation around this, because I know that this is something a lot of us deal with, and maybe you were able to get some value and awareness on how I think about it at this point in my journey. Okay, so with that, I conclude this video. I hope that you got value from it, and I will catch you in the next one. Much love to you. Take care.